and standing water. And anger is boiling, as you also might have seen in Staten Island, a part of New York closer to New Jersey, surrounded by water, temporarily cut off from the rest of the world, and suffering. NBC's Ann Curry is there.
It's becoming clear that Staten Island, an area 3 times the size of Manhattan, with about 500,000 people, suffer some of the greatest losses in all of New York. So far, 19 bodies have been recovered here, and while many of the deaths occurred in evacuation areas, today residents complained about a lack of desperately needed help, and their anger exploded.
We need help immediately. We have nowhere to live. We have small children that have to go back to school on Monday that have no clothes to wear, and we cannot live in our homes. Something has to be done immediately, not 14 days from now, today.
Staten Island was the bullseye of the storm. FEMA's not here. They're in New Jersey. They're in Breezy Point. They're everywhere. They're not on Staten Island. Every single person on this block lost everything.
How many people just died on this block?
Do you know how many people died on this block? I haven't seen it on the news. They're pulling bodies out.
It's hard to imagine anyone could neglect Staten Islanders when their stories are so harrowing. Local reports say the seawater rose so fast it was upon them in minutes. There was an off-duty police officer, Arthur Kasperzak, who rushed his family to safety in his attic and then is thought to have been electrocuted. And there was little Diane Norris could do but stand inside her living room holding her 89-year-old mother as the water rose. Her mother drowned. And this afternoon, in a Staten Island marsh, the latest tragic discovery, the bodies of 2 boys, 2 and 4, dragged from their mother's arms by powerful floodwaters as she was trying to find help. The tragedy here is so immense, some residents fear they haven't seen the end of it.
They're still looking for dead bodies, people that are held unaccountable for, so this death toll is going up. But you need to come here and help us. We need assistance, please.
Staten Island Borough President James Molinaro directed his frustration at the Red Cross.
And the American Red Cross was nowhere to be found. So all the American Red Cross, all these people making these big salaries should be out there on the front line. And I am disappointed.
The Red Cross says it is working to set up a mobile food kitchen and has 10 emergency vehicles on the way. And today, some help was in plain view on Staten Island. Emergency teams went house to house checking for signs of life, marking each home just as was done in New Orleans. NYPD Inspector Robert Lukash says New York police are doing their best. How do you account for the outrage?
Well, I mean, I can understand their pain, and how they feel. And I just want them to understand as best they can that, I know the city of New York, I know the mayor and the police commissioner are doing everything they can to get these people back on their feet.
Meanwhile, others are trying to cope on their own. Phyllis Puglia has been living in Staten Island since 1997, and she saw disaster brewing. She and her husband evacuated to safety and stayed with family on higher ground.
I sat at my house.
After she saw her home had been lifted by the force of the storm surge and carried away, she went looking for it. Balancing precariously on wooden planks, the 62-year-old grandmother made her way across a waterlogged field of debris and found her greatest treasures scattered nearly a mile away. A wedding photograph.
See my mom? Yeah, but there's so many more. There's got to be more with my father.
Yeah.
My mom was a simple lady.
Did you have many copies of this?
No.
So this is the only photograph.
This is the only wedding photograph of my mom.
So finding all these photographs.
Oh, they mean the world to me. My pictures mean the world to me.
But most of Phyllis and her husband's world is gone.
This is our whole life, but it's here. How do we start over? It took 30 years to get our home, and now he retired, and we're in our 60s, and where do we go? How do we start to build a life all over again?
You're in a state of shock. You're overwhelmed.
It's like a nightmare. In 1 minute, it's like I think I'm going to wake up, and this is all a dream. So we're going to spend the rest of our lives here. We never wanted to leave here. I want to go home, but there's no home. I can't go home, and that's killing me.
Pretty emotional stuff. Meantime, tonight we've learned that the Secretary of Homeland Security and also the Deputy Administrator of FEMA will be arriving here tomorrow to take a close-up look at the recovery efforts here in Staten Island. Now back to you, Brian.
What a situation out there tonight. And we pointed out on Nightly News, for those people not familiar with New York, two things. Number one, if we were on top of the rock, top of this very building we're in, we could almost see where you are. It's that close to gleaming Midtown Manhattan. Number two, and kind of perversely, she's wearing a Ladder 77 FDNY hoodie. So many cops and firefighters live on Staten Island. It's a huge part of the beating heart of the population there.
That's exactly right. A lot of firefighters, a lot of police officers, detectives, teachers. This is a blue-collar, working-class, very Catholic community, very much service-oriented. And so for them to speak out and complain as they are about not getting service, it's kind of ironic. Right?
Absolutely right. Ann Curry on a very sad place, Staten Island, New York tonight. Ann, thanks.